Welcome to the Method Zoo. I'm Sarah Marie Hall and I'm here with Laura Pottinger and Amy Barron, and we're all from the University of Manchester. Amy, tell us about your animal.
Okay, so photo go-alongs are the method I'm going to speak about, and they involve walking, talking and moving with participants around places of significance. I've used this method in my research with older people in Greater Manchester when trying to understand their place-making practices. So if photo go-alongs were an animal, for me there would be a chameleon. And an important aspect of this method is an ability to be flexible, so to adapt and respond to the needs of the researcher and the participant as they arise. Chameleons are of course well known for their ability to change colour rapidly and to blend seamlessly into the surrounding environment. Now this seamless element links with the go-along aspect of the method, where the researcher is not structuring the route or the journey taken, but instead moving with the participant through the places that they have chosen. So the point is to understand the world from the perspective of the participant, and so it's important that the researcher blends with the environment, much like the chameleon. So how about you, Laura?
So the methodological approach that I'm drawing on is patchwork ethnography, and this is an approach that mobilises the multi-sited, multi-method and fragmented nature of ethnographic research, and it thinks about how research practices are shaped by researchers' lives and commitments. So the animal that I've chosen is the leafcutter bee, and this is a bee that takes small pieces of leaves, which it then uses to build cells to raise its young. And you can see evidence of these bees, if you have them in your garden, in the little cuts and the cutouts in the leaves that they leave behind. So my research works with textile artists and makers who work with natural dyes, and this is a process itself that involves collecting pieces of plants and then working with them to create colours on cloth. And I'm learning some of these skills myself as well as part of the research, and I'm attempting to make a quilt. So I think there's quite a literal comparison between what I'm doing in my research and what the bee does. But I also think this applies to the broader idea of a research process as gathering lots of different small parts and bringing them together to create something new. And there's also something in the way that research can be something that goes into an environment and draws on that environment, but it also leaves a trace of itself behind. There's different types of leafcutter bees, and there's actually a specific patchwork leafcutter bee, so it's ties in quite neatly with the research approach, I think. And how about you, Sarah?
So the oral histories and futures method, it involves asking people about their past, their presents and their futures in one kind of narrative, but also asking them to use participatory tasks too. And I've chosen an elephant as my animal, and there's a few reasons for this. So elephants are known to have excellent memories, and oral history and future interviews are really about memory, remembering what someone said and being sure to ask them questions that follow on. They have big ears, they're very good listeners, but they're also really curious about the world. Elephants think that humans are really cute, and I really like that, this curiosity about humans and human behaviour and human lives. They live in communities, a little bit like the oral history community that I found to be a great source of advice and support for my work. And it's also a story of survival. So elephants have long been exploited, they haven't been valued in the way that they should have been. And oral history, for me, kind of has that presence a little bit in social science methods. And the other thing I wanted to say was about the non-verbal techniques that elephants use to communicate. They use seismic signals, so they use vibrations. And I'm not saying that in oral histories and futures you should sit there kind of vibrating, but you should be looking for and taking account of the signals beyond the verbal, encouraging people to talk, to reflect, and to think about their past, presents and futures. So yeah, I think that's what I would do. I wonder if all our animals would get on together in the zoo.